Well, I guess we'll start. I guess we'll start the second half. We get to quiet. During this part, we'll read. We'll read from Pablo Neruda, and probably most of you know Pablo Neruda was from Chile, and he was born just after the turn of the century in 1904. He died during the coup in 1973. He was already dying of cancer, and I understand from Santiago that people didn't want to tell him that Allende had been killed. Neruda was running for president of Chile on the Communist Party ticket. He dropped out in order that Allende be elected, and so they were very close friends. And unfortunately, Neruda found out, someone told him in the hospital just before he died. And so it seems he did die of a broken heart. Now, the way he got there was he was very young when he was a poet. He was born in the south of Chile, where it's very rainy. It's like a rainforest, and I'll read a little bit about that. When he was 17, he had his first book published in Santiago. When he was 20, he had his second book published that made him very famous, 20 Poems of Love and the Desperate Song. And then he became a consul in Chilean, embassies in the Far East. So he lived in Asia, Java, I'm not sure all the places, but it was a very lonesome time, and that influenced his poetry. But then he went as the consul to Spain just before the Spanish Civil War. He was there about a year when the war broke out. He was friends with all the poets, including Garcia Lorca. He was very close. And he left after the war started. And we'll read a poem that he wrote just after he left Spain. Well, we'll come to I'll tell you a little more later, but I wanted to read a little bit about his early days from his memoirs, which are very nice. And you can also find them in paperback. They're in a Penguin paperback. And he says, childhood and poetry. I'll start out by saying this about the days and years of my childhood. The rain was the one unforgettable presence for me then. I thought that'd ring true here in Chico this winter. The great southern rain, coming down like a waterfall from the pole, from the skies of Cape Horn to the frontier. On this frontier, my country's wild west, I first opened my eyes to life, the land, poetry, and rain. And it does sound very much like the Old West, as he describes where he lived and grew up. His father worked on the railroad, and his mother died about a month after he was born, but then he had a very wonderful stepmother, whom he loved like a mother. So he had a complete family. So when he was 17, went to Santiago, met all the poets, and as I say, at 19, he became famous for 20 Poems of Love and the Song of Desperation. And we will read the 20th poem in that series.
The theme is love, but it's 20 years old, and it's not really special, I think, but also, again, it's a very famous poem. I think most of the young people in South America memorize it. And, puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche. Escribir, por ejemplo, la noche está estrellada y tiritan azules los astros a lo lejos. El viento de la noche gira en el cielo y canta. Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche. Yo la quise, y a veces ella también me quiso. En las noches como esta la tuve entre mis brazos, la besé tantas veces bajo el cielo infinito. Ella me quiso, y a veces yo también la quería. ¿Cómo no haber amado sus grandes ojos fijos? Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche. Pensar que no la tengo, sentir que la he perdido, oír la noche inmensa, más inmensa sin ella, y el verso cae al alma como al pasto el rocío. ¿Qué importa que mi amor no pudiera guardarla? La noche está estrellada y ella no está conmigo. Eso es todo. A lo lejos, alguien canta. A lo lejos. Mi alma no se contenta con haberla perdido. Como para acercarla, mi mirada la busca, mi corazón la busca y ella no está conmigo. La misma noche que hace blanquear los mismos árboles, nosotros los de entonces ya no somos los mismos. Yo no la quiero, es cierto, pero cuánto la quise. Mi voz buscaba el viento para tocar su oído. De otro, será de otro como antes de mis besos, su voz, su cuerpo claro, sus ojos infinitos. Ya no la quiero, es cierto, pero tal vez la quiero. Es tan corto el amor y es tan largo el olvido, porque en noches como esta la tuve entre mis brazos. Mi alma no se contenta con haberla perdido, aunque este sea el último dolor que ella me causa y estos sean los últimos versos que yo le escribo.
Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Write, for example, the night is shattered and the blue stars shiver in the distance. The night wind revolves in the sky and sings. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. Through nights like this one I held her in my arms. I kissed her again and again under the endless sky. She loved me. Sometimes I loved her too. How could one not have loved her great still eyes? Tonight I can write the saddest lines. To think that I do not have her, to feel that I have lost her, to hear the immense night still more immense without her. And the verse falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. What does it matter that my love could not keep her? The night is shattered, and she is not with me. This is all. In the distance someone is singing, in the distance. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. My sight searches for her, as though to go to her. My heart looks for her, and she is not with me. The same night whitening the same trees. We of that time are no longer the same. I no longer love her, that's certain, but how I loved her. My voice tried to find the wind to touch her hearing. Another's. She will be another's, like my kisses before. Her voice, her bright body, her infinite eyes. I no longer love her, that's certain, but maybe I love her. Love is so short, forgetting is so long. Because through nights like this when I held her in my arms, my soul is not satisfied that it has lost her, though this be the last pain that she makes me suffer, and these the last verses that I write for her. One thing about Neruda was he went through a lot of periods, a lot of styles. If you don't like his political poems, you might like his love poems. If you don't like his love poems, you might like his political poems. But he wrote an immense amount. Then, while he was a consul, he wrote Residencia en la Tierra, which is residence in the earth. I think it was in 3 parts, and it was really the poems of someone who was very lonely. And during that time, he was very much a hermit, even though he had this fantastic, famous love affair in the Far East with a woman who almost killed him. Most of the time, he was very lonely. And so we'll read one that I believe was written in Buenos Aires. The title is in English, and it's called Walking Around.
This is the period, like you said, Neruda poetry, really sad. Loneliness, desperation. Life had no meaning, not real meaning. And later, he changed completely, but this is Walking Around. Sucede que me canso de ser hombre. Sucede que entro en las sastrerías y en los cines marchito, impenetrable, como un cisne de fieltro navegando en un agua de origen y ceniza. El olor de las peluquerías me hace llorar a gritos. Solo quiero un descanso de piedra o de lana, Solo quiero no ver establecimientos, ni jardines, ni mercaderías, ni anteojos, ni ascensores. Sucede que me canso de mis pies y de mis uñas, y mi pelo y mi sombra. Sucede que me canso de ser hombre. Sin embargo, sería delicioso asustar a un notario con un libro cortado o dar muerte a una monja con un golpe de oreja. Sería bello ir por las calles con un cuchillo verde y dando gritos hasta morir de frío. No quiero seguir siendo raíz en las tinieblas, vacilante, extendido, tiritando de sueño hacia abajo en las tripas mojadas de la tierra, absorbiendo y pensando, comiendo cada día. No quiero para mí tantas desgracias. No quiero continuar de raíz y de tumba, de subterráneo solo, de bodega de muertos, aterido, muriéndome de pena. Por eso, el día lunes arde como el petróleo. Cuando me ve llegar con mi cara de cárcel y aúlla en su transcurso como una rueda herida y da pasos de sangre caliente hacia la noche. Y me empuja a ciertos rincones, a ciertas casas húmedas, a hospitales donde los huesos salen por la ventana, a ciertas zapaterías con olor a vinagre, a calles espantosas como grietas. Hay pájaros de color de azufre y horribles intestinos colgando de las puertas de las casas que odio. Hay dentaduras olvidadas en una cafetera. Hay espejos que debieran haber llorado de vergüenza y espanto. Hay paraguas en todas partes y venenos y ombligos. Yo paseo con calma, con ojos, con zapatos, con furia, con olvido. Paso, cruzo oficinas y tiendas de ortopedia y patios donde hay ropas colgadas de un alambre, calzoncillos, toallas y camisas que lloran lentas lágrimas sucias.
Walking around. I must say, I ran across this poem about 25 years ago in an anthology. It was the first poem of Neruda I ever ran across, and it seemed to fit my own life as well.
Especially again this type of life that we have in this day, and this is the guy really desperate, just.
Now, if you've ever stayed at the YMCA in Seattle, you know what this poem.
Yeah, it's not good in this place.
No.
This is so nice, but the poem is not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Walking around. It happens that I am tired of being a man. It happens that I go into the tailor shops and the movies, all shriveled up, impenetrable, like a felt swan navigating on a water of origin and ash. The smell of barber shops makes me sob out loud. I want nothing but the repose either of stones or of wool. I want to see no more establishments, no more gardens, nor merchandise, nor glasses, nor elevators. It happens that I am tired of my feet and my nails, my hair and my shadow. It happens that I am tired of being a man. Just the same, it would be delicious to scare a notary with a cut lily, or knock a nun stone dead with one blow of the ear. It would be beautiful to go through the streets with a green knife, shouting until I died of the cold. I do not want to go on being a root in the dark, hesitating, stretched out, shivering with dreams, downwards in the wet tripe of the earth, soaking it up and thinking, eating every day. I do not want to be the inheritor of so many misfortunes. I do not want to continue as a root and as a tomb, as a solitary tunnel, as a cellar full of corpses, stiff with cold, dying with pain. For this reason, Monday burns like oil at the sight of me arriving with my jail face, and it howls in passing like a wounded wheel, and its footsteps towards nightfall are filled with hot blood, and it shoves me along to certain corners, to certain damp houses, to hospitals where the bones come out of the windows, to certain cobblers' shops smelling of vinegar, to streets horrendous as crevices. There are birds the color of sulfur, and horrible intestines hanging from the doors of the houses which I hate. There are forgotten sets of teeth in a coffee pot. There are mirrors which should have wept with shame and horror. There are umbrellas all over the place, and poisons and navels. I stride along with calm, with eyes, with shoes, with fury, with forgetfulness. I pass across offices and stores full of orthopedic appliances, and courtyards hung with clothes on wires, underpants, towels and shirts which weep slow, dirty tears. Oh, okay. As I said, after this period, his poetry changed totally during when he went to Spain. For one thing, this book that we just read a poem from made him very famous outside of Chile as well as in Chile, so that when he came to Spain, he was greeted by the other poets as a new master in Spanish, someone who really had something to say, a new way of saying it. So while he was there, before the war started, he really had a good time. He really was with his compatriots. And so when the war broke out, and Franco moved up from the south, and his friends started being killed, it totally changed him. Later he became a communist. He changed his style so that it was very direct, very honest, simple, easy for everyone to read. And his idea was to reach the masses with his poetry. This was one he wrote shortly after leaving Spain.
Explico algunas cosas. Preguntaréis, ¿y dónde están las lilas? ¿Y la metafísica cubierta de amapolas? ¿Y la lluvia que a menudo golpea sus palabras llenándolas de agujeros y de pájaros? Os voy a contar lo que me pasa. Yo vivía en un barrio de Madrid con campanas, con relojes, con árboles. Desde allí se veía el rostro seco de Castilla como un océano de cuero. Mi casa era llamada la Casa de las Flores, porque por todas partes estallaban geranios. Era una bella casa, con perros y chiquillos. Raúl, ¿te acuerdas? ¿Te acuerdas, Rafael? Federico. Talking about Federico Lorca. Federico, ¿te acuerdas? Debajo de la tierra. ¿Te acuerdas de mi casa con balcones en donde la luz de junio ahogaba flores en tu boca? Hermano, hermano. Todo. Eran grandes voces. Sal de mercaderías. Aglomeraciones de pan palpitante. Mercados de mi barrio de Argüelles con su estatua, con un tintero pálido entre las merluzas. El aceite llegaba a las cucharas. Un profundo latido de pies y manos llenaban las calles. Metros, litros, esencia aguda de la vida. Pescados hacinados, con textura de techos, con el sol frío, en el cual la flecha se castiga, delirante marfil, fino de las patatas, tomates repetidos hasta el mar. Y una mañana, todo estaba ardiendo. Y una mañana, las hogueras salían de la tierra devorando seres, y desde entonces, fuego, pólvora desde entonces, y desde entonces, sangre. Bandidos con aviones y con moros, bandidos con sortijas y duquesas, bandidos con frailes negros bendiciendo, venían por el cielo a matar niños. Y por las calles, la sangre de los niños corría simplemente como sangre de niños. Chacales que el chacal rechazaría. Piedras que el cardo seco mordería escupiendo. Víboras que las víboras odiaran. Frente a vosotros he visto la sangre de España levantarse para ahogarnos en una sola ola de orgullo y de cuchillos. Generales traidores, mirad mi casa muerta, mirad España rota, pero de cada casa muerta sale metal ardiendo en vez de flores, pero de cada hueco de España sale España, pero de cada niño muerto sale un fusil con ojos, pero de cada crimen nacen balas que os hallarán un día el sitio del corazón. Preguntaréis, ¿por qué su poesía no nos habla del sueño, de las hojas, de los grandes volcanes de su país natal? Venid a ver la sangre por las calles, venid a ver la sangre por las calles, venid a ver la sangre por las calles.
I'm explaining a few things. You are going to ask, and where are the lilacs, and the poppy-petaled metaphysics, and the rain repeatedly spattering its words, and drilling them full of apertures and birds? I'll tell you all the news. I lived in a suburb of Madrid with bells and clocks and trees. From there you could look out over Castile's dry face, a leather ocean. My house was called the House of Flowers, because in every cranny geraniums burst. It was a good-looking house, with its dogs and children. Remember, Raoul? Raphael? Federico, do you remember from under where the light of June drowned flowers in your mouth? Brother, my brother. Everything loud with big voices, the salt of merchandises, pile-ups of palpitating bread, the stalls of my suburb of Arguelles, with its statue, like a drained inkwell in a swirl of hate. Oil flowed into spoons, a deep baying of feet and hands swelled in the streets, meters, liters, the sharp measure of life, stacked up fish, the texture of roofs with the cold sun in which the weather vane falters, the fine, frenzied ivory of potatoes, wave on wave of tomatoes rolling down to the sea. And one morning, all that was burning. One morning, the bonfires leapt out of the earth, devouring human beings. And from then on, fire. Gunpowder from then on, and from then on, blood. Bandits with planes and moors. Bandits with finger rings and duchesses. Bandits with black friars spattering blessings came through the sky to kill children, and the blood of children ran through the streets, without fuss, like children's blood. Jackals that the jackals would despise, stones that the dry thistle would bite on and spit out, vipers that the vipers would abominate. Face to face with you, I have seen the blood of Spain tower like a tide, to drown you in one wave of pride and knives. Treacherous generals, see my dead house, look at broken Spain. From every house burning metal flows instead of flowers. From every socket of Spain, Spain emerges, and from every dead child a rifle with eyes, and from every crime bullets are born, which will one day find the bullseye of your hearts. And you will ask, why doesn't his poetry speak of dreams and leaves and the great volcanoes of his native land? Come and see the blood in the streets. Come and see the blood in the streets. Come and see the blood in the streets. Well, he didn't. I should say that he had a double feeling toward the United States. He was in exile in Mexico for quite a few years, I think 5 or 6 at least, and he wrote a poem about the Americas and justice in the Americas, injustice in the Americas, called Canto General. And we won't read the one. He has one long poem about the United States, and he separated the government from the people, and he traveled around the United States. And this poem is very beautiful and a very nice appreciation of the United States. On the other hand, as we all know, the United States is not showing its best face in Latin America, to say the least. And he he wrote one called The United Fruit Company, which, as you know, was practically the owner of El Salvador, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Panama. And so this is a poem called The United Fruit Company.
Cuando sonó la trompeta, estuvo todo preparado en la tierra y Jehová repartió el mundo a Coca-Cola Inc., Anaconda, Ford Motors y otras entidades. La compañía frutera Inc. se reservó lo más jugoso, la costa central de mi tierra, la dulce cintura de América. Bautizó de nuevo sus tierras como repúblicas bananas. Y sobre los muertos dormidos, sobre los héroes inquietos que conquistaron la grandeza, la libertad y las banderas, estableció la ópera bufa. Enajenó los albedríos, regaló coronas de César, desenvainó la envidia, atrajo la dictadura de las moscas, moscas Trujillos, moscas Tachos, moscas Caría, moscas Martínez, moscas Ubico, moscas húmedas, de sangre humilde y mermelada, moscas borrachas que zumbaban sobre las tumbas populares, moscas de circo, sabias moscas entendidas en la tiranía. Entre las moscas sanguinarias, la frutera desembarca, arrasando el café y las frutas en sus barcos que deslizaron como bandejas de oro de nuestras tierras sumergidas. Mientras tanto, por los abismos azucarados de los puertos, caían indios sepultados en el vapor de la mañana. Un cuerpo rueda, una cosa sin nombre, un número caído, un racimo de fruta muerta derramada por el pudridero.
One thing, the names in here are names of dictators. Most of them are gone now, like Trujillo, who was in Cuba, but they're new ones. The United Fruits Company. When the trumpet sounded, it was all prepared on the earth. The Jehovah parceled out the earth to Coca-Cola Incorporated, Anaconda, Ford Motors, and other entities. The Fruits Company Incorporated reserved for itself the most succulent, the central coast of my own land, the delicate waste of America. It rechristened its territories as the Banana Republics. And over the sleeping dead, over the restless heroes who brought about the greatness, the liberty, and the flags, it established the comic opera, abolished the independencies, presented crowns of Caesar, unsheathed envy, attracted the dictatorship of the flies. Trujillo flies, Tajo flies, Carillas flies, Martinez flies, Ubico flies, damp flies of modest blood and marmalade, drunken flies who zoom over the ordinary graves, circus flies, wise flies, well-trained in tyranny. Among the bloodthirsty flies, the Fruits Company lands its ships, taking off the coffee and the fruit. The treasure of our submerged territories flow as though on plates into ships. Meanwhile, Indians are falling into the sugared chasms of the harbors, wrapped for burial in the mist of the dawn. A body rolls, a thing that has no name, a fallen cipher, a cluster of dead fruit thrown down on a dump. Well, at this same time, he was writing some of his most well-known poems, which I like very much, and if anybody wants a translation project, these have never all been done into English. They're the odas. And he wrote, I think, 4 books of odas. And they're about very simple things. They're about an artichoke, about his socks, paperclip, I don't know. There are all kinds of poems, and they're just wonderful. And I've only run across maybe a dozen. and there are probably hundreds that haven't been translated. Very simple poems, and we'll read Ode to a Tomato.
This poetry is especially for the poor people, for the workers, and it's very simple. You can see the words are very short, the words are very simple, and of course you use the thing that the workers use, tomatoes, is very important thing for them. Oda al tomate. La calle se llenó de tomates. Mediodía, verano, la luz se parte en dos mitades de tomate. Corre por las calles el jugo. En diciembre se desata el tomate, invade las cocinas, entra por los almuerzos, se sienta reposado en los aparadores, entre los vasos, las mantequilleras, los aleros azules. Tiene luz propia. Majestad benigna. Debemos, por desgracia, asesinarlo. Se hunde el cuchillo en su pulpa viviente. Es una roja víscera, un sol fresco, profundo, inagotable, llena las ensaladas de chile, se casa alegremente con la clara cebolla y para celebrarlo se deja caer aceite, hijo esencial del olivo, sobre sus miferios entreabiertos, agrega la pimienta, una fragancia, la sal su magnetismo. Son las bodas del día. El perejil levanta banderines, las papas hierven vigorosamente, el asado golpea con su aroma en la puerta. Es hora, vamos. Y sobre la mesa, en la cintura del verano, el tomate, astro de la tierra, estrella repetida y fecunda, nos muestra sus circunvoluciones, sus canales, la insigne plenitud de la abundancia sin hueso, sin coraza, sin escamas ni espina, nos entrega el regalo de su color fogoso y la totalidad de su frescura.
You like to eat very much.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
I need that one too.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I remember reading in here that he liked to cook very much, liked food a lot. Ode to the Tomato. The street drowns in tomatoes. Noon, summer, light breaks into two tomato halves, and the streets run with juice. In December, I should say that in Chile, of course, December is summer. In December, the tomato cuts loose, invades kitchens, takes over lunches, settles at rest on sideboards with the glasses, butter dishes, blue salt cellars. It has its own radiance, a goodly majesty. Too bad we must assassinate. A knife plunges into the living pulp. Red viscera. A fresh, deep, inexhaustible sun floods the salads of Chile, beds cheerfully with a blonde onion. And to celebrate oil, the filial essence of the olive tree lets itself fall over its gaping hemispheres. The pimento adds its fragrance, salt, its magnetism. We have the day's wedding. Parsley flaunts its little flags. Potatoes thump to a boil. The roast beat down the door with their aromas. It's time. Let's go. And upon the table, belted by summer, tomatoes. Stars of the earth, stars multiplied and fertile, show off their convolutions, canals and plentitudes, and the abundance boneless, without husk or scale or thorn. Grant us the festival of ardent color and all-embracing freshness.
Are you tired? Can we read some others?
This is from, he resettled in Chile in 1953. And I guess he bought an island, or he lived on a little island.
Isla Negra.
Isla Negra. And his poetry changed again during this time. And one thing they say in here is that a lot of the critics considered it very selfish, very self-indulgent type poetry. And he takes on a new character, a kind of quizzical character who says, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't care what you guys say. And so, and the book was called Extravagario. I don't know, what does that translate? Extravagances, or?
Yes, extravagario, cosas extravagantes. Yes, you're right. Demasiados nombres. Se enreda el lunes con el martes y la semana con el año. No se puede cortar el tiempo con tus tijeras fatigadas, y todos los nombres del día los borra el agua de la noche. Nadie puede llamarse Pedro, ninguna es Rosa, ni María. Todos somos polvo o arena. Todos somos lluvia en la lluvia. Me han hablado de Venezuelas, de Paraguayes y de Chiles. No sé de lo que están hablando. Conozco la piel de la tierra y sé que no tiene apellido. Cuando viví con las raíces, me gustaron más que las flores. Y cuando hablé con una piedra, sonaba como una campana. Es tan larga la primavera que dura todo un invierno. El tiempo perdió los zapatos. Un año tiene 4 siglos. Cuando duermo todas las noches, ¿cómo me llamo o no me llamo? Y cuando me despierto, ¿quién soy? Y si no era yo, cuando dormía. Esto quiere decir que apenas desembarcamos en la vida, que venimos recién naciendo, que no nos llenemos la boca de tantos nombres inseguros, con tantas etiquetas tristes, con tantas letras rimbombantes, con tanto tuyo y tanto mío, y con tanta firma en los papeles. Yo pienso confundir las cosas, unirlas y recién nacerlas, entreverarlas, desvestirlas, hasta que la luz del mundo tenga la unidad del océano, una integridad generosa, una fragancia crepitante.
Too many names. Mondays are meshed with Tuesdays, and the week with a whole year. Time cannot be cut with your exhausted scissors, and all the names of the day are washed out by the waters of the night. No one can claim the name of Pedro. Nobody is Rosa or Maria. All of us are dust or sand. All of us are rain under rain. They have spoken to me of Venezuelas, of Chiles and Paraguays. I have no idea what they are saying. I know only the skin of the earth, and I know it has no name. When I lived among the roots, they pleased me more than the flowers did. And when I spoke to a stone, it rang like a bell. It is so long, the spring which goes on all winter. Time has lost its shoes. A year lasts 4 centuries. When I sleep every night, what am I called or not called? And when I wake, who am I, if I was not I while I slept? This means to say that scarcely have we landed into life, then we come as if newborn. Let us not fill our mouths with so many faltering names, with so many sad formalities, with so many pompous letters, with so much of yours and mine, with so much signing of papers. I have a mind to confuse things, unite them, make them newborn, mix them up, undress them, until all the light in the world has the oneness of the ocean, a generous, vast wholeness, a crackling, living fragrance. Well, we'll finish now with 4 poems from a book called The Captain's Verses. And Marilyn has to like these too. These are, I think, some of the most wonderful love poems I've ever read. And I read them every once in a while when I want to feel good. He wrote them they were printed under another name because he was leaving one woman he'd lived with for almost 20 years for another woman. And he said in here that he didn't want to hurt the woman that he was leaving when he wrote these poems for the new woman. So they were published in Italy, I believe, and became very well known. And I guess if a poet ever wants to know if they're really writing good poetry or if they're just writing on their name, it'd be interesting to write under a pseudonym when you're famous and see what happens. Well, these poems became very famous, and finally he acknowledged them some years after they were printed.
Matilda Urrutia was the name of the second lady, and later he married her. And here again we have Neruda with love, and we're going to finish. You say 4, I think it's only 3.
Oh, it's only 3? Oh, okay.
En ti la tierra. Pequeña rosa, rosa pequeña, a veces diminuta y desnuda, Pareces que en una mano mía cabes, que así voy a cerrarte y llevarte a mi boca. Pero de pronto mis pies tocan tus pies y mi boca tus labios. Has crecido. Suben tus hombros como dos colinas. Tus pechos se pasean por mi pecho. Mi brazo alcanza apenas a rodear la delgada línea de la luna nueva que tiene tu cintura. En el amor como agua de mar te has desatado. Mido apenas los ojos más extensos del cielo y me inclino a tu boca para besar la tierra.
In you, the earth. Little rose, roselet, at times tiny and naked. It seems as though you would fit into one of my hands, as though I'll clasp you like this and carry you to my mouth. But suddenly, my feet touch your feet, and my mouth your lips. You have grown. Your shoulders rise like two hills. Your breasts wander over my breast. My arm scarcely manages to encircle the thin new moon line of your waist. In love you have loosened yourself like seawater. I can scarcely measure the sky's most spacious eyes, and I lean down to your mouth to kiss the earth.
The last two poems are not really long, but I think very... Oh no, yes, there were four.
Were there four?
Yeah.
Okay, so three more.
Tus pies. Cuando no puedo mirar tu cara, miro tus pies. Tus pies de hueso arqueado, tus pequeños pies duros. Yo sé que te sostienen y que tu dulce peso sobre ellos se levantan. Tu cintura y tus pechos, la duplicada púrpura de tus pezones, la caja de tus ojos que recién han volado, tu ancha boca de fruta, tu cabellera roja, pequeña torre mía. Pero no amo tus pies, sino porque anduvieron sobre la tierra y sobre el viento y sobre el agua hasta que me encontraron.
Your feet. When I cannot look at your face, I look at your feet. Your feet of arched bone, your hard little feet. I know that they support you, and that your gentle weight rises upon them. Your waist and your breasts, the double purple of your nipples, the sockets of your eyes that have just flown away, your wide fruit mouth, your red tresses, my little tower. But I love your feet, only because they walked upon the earth and upon the wind and upon the waters until they found me.
Tus manos. Cuando tus manos salen, amor, hacia las mías, ¿qué me traen volando? ¿Por qué se detuvieron en mi boca de pronto? ¿Por qué las reconozco como si entonces antes las hubiera tocado? Como si antes de ser hubieran recorrido mi frente, mi cintura. Su suavidad venía volando sobre el tiempo, sobre el mar, sobre el humo, sobre la primavera. Y cuando tú pusiste tus manos en mi pecho, reconocí esas alas de paloma dorada, reconocí esa greda y ese color de trigo. Los años de mi vida yo caminé buscándolas. Subí las escaleras, crucé los arrecifes, me llevaron los trenes, las aguas me trajeron, y en la piel de las uvas me pareció tocarte, la madera de pronto me trajo tu contacto, la almendra me anunciaba tu suavidad secreta, hasta que se cerraron tus manos en mi pecho, y allí, como dos alas, terminaron su viaje.
Your hands. When your hands go out, love, toward mine, what do they bring me flying? Why did they stop at my mouth suddenly? Why do I recognize them as if then, before I had touched them, as if before they existed, they had passed over my forehead, over my waist? Their softness came flying over time, over the sea, over the smoke, over the spring, and when you placed your hands on my chest, I recognized those golden dove wings. I recognized that clay and that color of wheat. All the years of my life, I walked around looking for them. I went upstairs. I crossed the roads. Trains carried me. Waters brought me. And in the skin of the grapes, I thought I touched you. The wood suddenly brought me your touch. The almond announced to me your secret softness, until your hands closed on my chest, and there, like two wings, they ended their journey.
And the last one is, I think it's a very beautiful poem. Tu risa. Quítame el pan, si quieres. Quítame el aire, pero no me quites tu risa. No me quites la rosa, la lanza que desgranas, el agua que de pronto estalla en tu alegría, la repentina ola de plata que te nace. Mi lucha es dura y vuelvo con los ojos cansados, a veces de haber visto la tierra que no cambia. Pero al entrar, tu risa sube al cielo buscándome y abre para mí todas las puertas de la vida. Amor mío, en la hora más oscura, desgrana tu risa. Y si de pronto ves que mi sangre mancha las piedras de la calle, ríe,